For more now on Putin's speech today, let's bring in Daniel Hawkins live from Moscow. Daniel, much of the same from Putin in this speech that once again railed against the West. Did anything seem different this time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this speech had all the classic hallmarks of any major speech by Vladimir Putin. A scathing attack on the West and their ill intent and malice towards Russia, which lasted over centuries. The threat to Russia's borders coming from the West, their imperialism, their strive towards unilateralism, really more of the same and a lot of what we've seen of his major speeches. The only difference perhaps being, of course, that announcement of Russia's withdrawal from the only major arms control treaty now in existence between Russia and the United States. And also this shift, really what we've seen away from a very small, limited special military operation to this changing narrative that Russia is now in a fully fledged, historic, deep standoff, not only with Ukraine or the United States, but with the collective West that wish to destroy Russia. And it's called on the Russian people, of course, that everybody, from those on the front line to those working in factories on the home front, so to speak, bear responsibility for achieving a victory, whatever that will be in Putin's eyes. The traditional lot, of course, to traditional family values being under attack, and this image of Russia as the defender of traditional values, which are, according to Mr. Putin's worldview, degrading and rotting in the West. So generally, much of the same. A lot of people today were expecting some sort of announcement, either with mobilization, a second continued wave of mobilization, or perhaps some sort of military escalation. But generally, the Russian president has left the bad news to his subordinates in previous times, as we saw with Russian army's retreat from Kherson, for instance. These sorts of announcements usually are left now not to such a high level. So this very much was a call of rallying for the Russian people, a message of defiance to the West, with the ending in, of course, that will draw from the treaty, and really a message saying that things are carrying on until Russia achieves what it wants to achieve.
Well, Daniel, what's the feeling like there in Russia at the moment? Do people still back this invasion of Ukraine 1 year on?
I think there's certainly a unified feeling if you speak to people on the street that they want this to be over. I don't think anybody wants this conflict to continue, and I think most people will be very happy if things went back to January 2022. The reality on the ground is people know that's not going to happen, that's impossible. And how people want this to end, I think that's where the real division lies, because a lot of people still do buy the government narrative that Russia is in this historic standoff with the West and that there is no alternative to a military solution. A lot of people still do buy that. An increasing number of people, though, and that number has risen as the year's gone on and the new year has started, know that things have gone very wrong and things are moving in the wrong direction, in their opinion. So there is certainly a division among that, and that goes along the lines of both generation, where people perhaps live, their income levels. Certainly, I think if you ask people in the metropolitan cities of Moscow and St. Petersburg, their opinion will differ to people in the regions. But certainly, if we summarize, it is the view that people want this to be over. It's how they want this to be over, whether that's through negotiation, compromise, and peace talks, perhaps some compromise on the territories which Russia claims to have added to its borders, or a military solution going all the way to Kiev, as a lot of the military bloggers in Telegram phrase it that way. So certainly the opinion in Russia is not homogenous on how they want this to end, but the fact that people want this to be over, of course, is very prevalent indeed. And that mood has just got stronger as we come up to the anniversary of the start of this conflict.
All right, Daniel, thanks so much for that. France 24's Daniel Hawkins in Moscow.